sports.
We are the Fourth. We are Florida.
On the Golden Gate Bridge here in San Francisco as the Marlins and Giants play the middle game of their three-game set here at picturesque AT Park. And what a fun series this has been so far, not just here in San Francisco, but even last week in Miami as Derek Dietrich and the Marlins continue to play comeback baseball. There's last night's hero, Miguel Rojas, and one of the guys that helped get it started in that three-run ninth inning. Of course, Lewis Brinson in the middle of it all. 14 different lead changes in all 4 of the 5 games that the Marlins have won against the Giants in comeback fashion. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth here inside the broadcast booth. Well, I don't know what they've got planned for tonight, but it should be entertaining.
No doubt about it. That's the way it's gone. Confidence is high with this group right now. They're playing great baseball. They've been getting great bullpen efforts. Pretty much good starts, but the offense has been timely. They've been aggressive at times, but when it's mattered most, they've been able to come up with some of the biggest hits and turn these into wins.
Yeah, when they are running out of outs, that's kind of how it's been. Last night it was in the 9th inning, and you saw Brian Anderson really get it started by drawing the walk, and it kept his on-base game streak alive.
Absolutely. 8-pitch walk set the table, then Real Muto pounces. Next pitch hanging, breaking ball over the plate. Anderson all the way around to score. How about a walk for Bohr? We've seen that before, 48th. That's now his all-time high. And then the Maven, I'll tell you what, the Maven at bat was a big, big play. Of course, because he had 2 strikes on him, he was able to move up a runner, and that set up, obviously, Brinson right here that kind of got things going in their game. And Rojas, boy, oh boy, I'll continue to talk about this one as he goes the other way. I would like to see that obviously happen a little bit more as he kind of comes out of that slump. But great at-bats. That's the one thing. He had 8 at-bats in that 9th inning, and all quality, all meant something, all helped this team win that game last night.
And we saw a lot of emotion on both sides, of course, with the Marlins winning and also with the San Francisco Giants. Hunter Strickland, in fact, on the disabled list with a broken hand. A little bit of frustration after the game. More on that in just a bit. But as we move forward to tonight's ball game, you got Dan Straley and Derek Rodriguez, as just like last night, 2 starting pitchers who faced off against one another in Miami, back at it again tonight.
Yeah, and I think Derek probably pitched a little bit better. Obviously, you see he worked into the 7th inning for Dan Straley. He finished well. That's the one thing that really stands out, and of course, he's got great numbers against these San Francisco Giants. He's never lost to them. 4 wins, 6 starts, sub-3 ERA, so he is really rolling against this ball club. So again, this is a matchup that you like, and you really feel like the Marlins might just be the team to beat in this one as well.
And of course, Derek Rodriguez, the son of Pudge Rodriguez. We step aside here in San Francisco. When we come back, Jessica Blaylock will get us all ready for an email and Twitter Tuesday here in San Francisco. We're back in a moment. Here's to Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, it is a West Coast edition of an email and Twitter Tuesday, and with the All-Star game just a couple of weeks away, we are going with that hashtag ASG. Who do you think is All-Star worthy? What do you think of the ballots so far? Tell us what you think. Send those emails to foxmarlins@gmail.com. Your tweets can go to @foxmarlins, and be sure to use tonight's hashtag ASG. There are a couple of Marlins players who deserve to head to the Midsummer Classic, including JT Realmuto. Here's Don Mattingly on why JT deserves your vote.
He's just getting better and better all the time. I think we've seen the talent. Now he's just putting more and more of his package together from the standpoint of game calling, game framing, hitting, power, pretty much anything you ask a guy to do from behind the plate, he can do.
To vote for JT Realmuto, Brian Anderson, Kyle Barraclough, or any other Marlin, go to marlins.com. You can vote 5 times a day, up to 35 times. Voting ends on July 5th at 11:59 p.m. Still more to come on our Marlins live show. We're going to head back to the studio, join Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson. This has been an exciting series so far in San Francisco.
San Francisco, as Derek Rodriguez will come out to face the Miami Marlins for his second consecutive start, and this is the lineup that he will face. Presented to you by Southwest, with Derek Dietrich at the top. Brian Anderson riding a 16-game on-base streak. A big walk last night, not just to extend the streak, but to get the rally going in that 3-run ninth inning. And Lewis Brinson, who drove in the tying run, hits in the 8th spot tonight against Rodriguez, who, much like Straley tonight, his counterpart facing the same team in back-to-back outings.
Yeah, that's right. The Giants 2-1 in his starts, pitched pretty well at Marlins Park. 6 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs. Didn't walk anybody, 4 strikeouts. Remember, that was the 16-inning game that the Marlins and Giants played last Thursday. He's only made 1 start here at AT Park against the Phillies, June 3rd. Good one as well. You see the 4.34 ERA on the season. So again, a lot of knowledge exchanged last start to this one. See if the Marlins can pick up where they left off.
First pitch is outside to Dietrich, who was 0 for 2 as a pinch hitter last night. Came into the game as a pinch hitter and moved into left field. 4 for 13 with a couple of runs scored and a double on this road trip. And now 2 balls and no strikes. It's been a hot month of June, even if you add in the last day of May. Derek Dietrich has been on fire, hitting .373 since May 31st. 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 7th best batting average in Major League Baseball in that span. And ahead 3-0 here as Rodriguez delivers his first strike of the night. 3-1. Of course, the son of Pudge Rodriguez, who was in attendance, and not just for his son's start and the time that he was in the game. We were walking out. We're getting ready to go on the bus to get to the airport to head to Baltimore, and we see Pudge after 16 innings and nearly 5 hours of baseball downstairs.
Fan favorite, signing autographs. Good to see. In Miami for Derek Rodriguez. He's had a pretty nice start to his big league career.
And he strikes out Dietrich. Fights all the way back from 3-0 to get the K.
Let's go ahead and give you the AutoNation scouting report, see how this one plays out. Lesson learned, that is number 1 on the list. And you break up his last start, that start in Miami, in half. He faced 26 Marlins hitters. The first 13 produced 2 singles and 4 strikeouts, no runs. The next 13 Marlins went 5 for 13 with 2 doubles, a homer, and 2 runs. That's the version you certainly want to see. The lesson learned: early on, very aggressive. Later, much more patient. Runners in scoring position, he has struggled. .364 on the season, .414 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. So keep an eye on that. And really, that arsenal, he mixes it up a lot. Went back and looked at it one other time. He throws the 4-seam fastball, the sinker, the changeup, the curve, and the slider, and he used all 5 pretty regularly last start.
And on the hands of Brian Anderson, 2 balls and no strikes. Anderson 0 for 3 last night, but a big run scored, and of course the huge walk to start that 9th inning against Hunter Strickland, who, again, if you missed it in our Marlins Live pregame show, and I'm sure we'll mention it again later for those that join us then, but placed on the 10-day disabled list, Hunter Strickland, after apparently, I'm sure Bruce Bochy not thrilled with this, punching a wall or a door or something out of frustration after last night's ball game.
Yeah. You lose your closer, simply put. He's been a big part of what they've been doing here. Obviously, Mark Melanson brought in to be the closer originally. Strickland had taken over while Melanson was dealing with some injuries. I mean, they've got some candidates on the team that have closed. I mean, this is something that the San Francisco Giants can bounce back from. But when you look, I think Bochy touched on it. Kid's been growing not only as a closer and as a pitcher, but as a person, and then to have this kind of sets you back.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Anderson.
He got things going last night in that 9th inning. Huge walk, best at bat of the night for Brian Anderson. Fell behind, classically battled his way through, and 8 pitches later found himself on first base.
Comes up empty, and Derek Rodriguez has struck out the 2 Marlins that he's faced tonight.
Let's go ahead and give you the Giants defensively for tonight's ball game. Williams is going to get the start in left field. Hernandez in center. McCutcheon in right as usual. Sandoval getting the start at third base. Hansen in at short. Panic, Belt, Posey. Rodriguez on the mound.
And now it's JT Realmuto. Has had some very good numbers against the San Francisco Giants this year. 1 for 4 last night. A double and an RBI that came in that 3-run 9th inning. But this year, 7 for 17 with 6 runs scored, 2 doubles and 3 RBIs against the Giants. In fact, if you go back to his last 11 games against San Francisco, he's got hits in 9 of them, hitting .372 in that sample size, as this one is pulled fair down the third base line and toward the corner as it rolls over the bullpen mound and add another double for JT.
You know, great balance from JT Realmuto once again. Remember that rocket double into the left center field gap last night? Well, he's got the pull swing working once again. Right over that third base bag and over the Giants bullpen. So runner in scoring position with 2 outs. I mentioned it already. .414 batting average against Rodriguez in these situations.
So 1 on and 2 out for Justin Bour. Who takes that one low, and for a guy who's got so many RBIs, 33 of them, he's hitting just .177 with runners in scoring position this year. So he's found other ways to drive guys in with mainly the long ball. Ball and a strike with Realmuto off of second base. Posey thought about it, keeping his catching counterpart close at second base. 2-1.
May have lost a strike right there as he bounced out. It's a pretty good pitch that appeared to be inside the strike zone. See if it changes the course of this at bat. Now 2-1.
Bat splinters in half as the ball goes foul. And he'll need a new shillelagh.
Yeah, that's the byproduct of a pretty good changeup. That's what Derek Rodriguez really has featured here in the first inning. We've seen an awful lot of changeups. Look at that downward motion. He catches it off the cup, and a cup will explode. There you go.
Marlins have done so much coming back against the Giants, but a chance to take a first inning lead here. This one lifted out to left center field, and a long run back for Williamson on the track is able to make the catch for out number 3. Well, Moore gave it a ride to the opposite field, but the Marlins strand 1 in the first. Francisco, as the Marlins left one on base. A runner in scoring position in the first, so we will see if Joe Panik and company will have any sort of luck getting and perhaps keeping a lead. I think that's probably what the Giants are a little bit more concerned with. Your Giants batting order presented to you by Southwest. Panik in the top spot. He has been cold as of late. And then you've got Buster Posey, who against Miami this year has some pretty good numbers. We'll get into that in just a little bit. And Brandon Belt in the cleanup spot today, hitting an even 300. All against Dan Straley, who again will see the same club in back-to-back starts.
Well, there's the numbers. 4.23 ERA on the season, making his 10th start. He's been much better on the road.
First pitch to Panik is in there for a called strike. Yes, 10th start of the year for Straley.
2.67 ERA, 198 batting average against. Again, those the road numbers. Last start against the Giants, 5 innings, gave up 3 hits. Now 2 of those 3 hits were home runs. Did strike out 7. And that's the improvement I was kind of referring to. You look at how Dan's season has broken down. He's made 9 starts. The Marlins won the first 5 of his starts. Played good baseball, got a little bit better. Remember, struggled a little bit early, then he started to kind of progress in a very good way. Well, the last 4 starts haven't gone so well. The Marlins have lost those last 4 starts. He's had a 5.79 ERA. Good things came out of that last start, and we'll see if Dan can pick up where he left off. Again, great career numbers against the Giants. 4-0, 2.82 ERA. That is in 6 starts.
Upstairs to Panik in the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Panik was 1 for 4 in last night's ball game with a run scored and RBI. He's hitting 3 straight games, but 1 hit in each of those 3 games. 3 for 11. As this one is lined out to right center field, Anderson. Well, it's not easy out there. A little bit of the sun setting, perhaps.
Well, sun, wind, cold, you name it. A lot of things going on in the outfield today. Nice catch by Anderson, who's in right. There you go, the Marlins defense. Brinson in center, Dietrich in left. Rojas gets the start at third base. JT Riddle, Castro, Bohr, JT Realmuto, Dan Straley. And
you have steps. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got a few things going on.
Like that, a long fly ball to left center field off the bat of Buster Posey. And that is a home run to give the Giants a 1-0 lead.
Almost felt like we backed right into that, didn't we? The 5th home run of the season, and Buster Posey continues to be aggressive on the first pitch. We've seen that over the last few ball games, particularly against this Marlins staff, the Marlins starters, coming out and swinging right away. You go back 1 start, this scenario happened. Except it was McCutchen. Posey walked McCutchen homer. There you go, first pitch of the ball game, center cut, 90 miles an hour, gone. Simply put, good pitch to hit, and Posey was ready to hit.
Posey now 8 for 23 with 6 runs scored against the Marlins this year, as the aforementioned Andrew McCutchen takes ball 1. Well, I said it last night, and I'm gonna ride the wave. I'm not worried. Marlins have erased 9 deficits over the course of the now 5 games that they have played against the San Francisco Giants this year. This one is popped up right side, foul ground. Bohr now moving back toward fair territory. He stumbles, and that one falls foul. Not by much. Well, you can see the flags are blowing toward right center field.
A lot of things going on right there, and that ball barely foul, no doubt. Justin thought he was underneath it as he was kind of making his way over to the dirt just in front of the Marlins dugout. Had to reroute. He's very grateful for that. Well, I see the flags blowing out, high sky, sun going down.
Well, again, what's fascinating, I'll try it again.
Well, it should come back. There you go.
Able to make the catch.
If the wind doesn't lie, that ball should come back. There you go.
So for those scoring at home, if you want to put a little, F3 in there, you wouldn't have been wrong the first time.
Well, what I meant by that is Justin Bohr learned a lesson. That's how the flags are blowing. If that ball is out over the seats, maybe that first or second row, there's a good chance it's going to end up in the bottom of your glove. Certainly learned that from ball that was just over there. See a big smile on his face. There you go. A little redemption. Nothing better than instant redemption, right?
Here's Brandon Belt. What I was going to say was we showed you the USA and the California Republic flag. That's out in right center field. And then there's the Levi's flags that are in right beyond the right field wall. Those flags are blowing out toward McCovey Cove.
Right.
Straight back. The Levi's flags were blowing toward right center field. So
Okay.
it's like two different directions in the course of 200 feet.
Yeah. You don't get it?
Swirling winds. Yeah, of course. Bingo. Are we playing AT Park bingo again?
That's why you see the outfielders and the infielders running around like they're trying to catch a punt.
For Brandon Belt, 1 for 4 in last night's ball game. And they check over at third. And Manny Gonzalez says no swing. Laz Diaz, the crew chief, is at second base tonight. Jansen Visconti is at first. And Andy Fletcher is the one calling balls and strikes behind home plate. The 2-2 is just a little low. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Belt.
You kind of mentioned the the patterns that both these teams seem to be in. You mentioned not being afraid of coming back. Well, the Giants have put their best at bats typically early in a game. It's kind of how we've watched this go, where the Marlins, some of their better at bats seem to be in the middle innings, more towards the end. Obviously, that's what's leading to so many of these wins. But early on, we've watched the Giants take leads, put together quality at bats. Thinking back to the Posey home run, again, a very similar first inning to Dan's last start, but at the end of the day, Dan ended up going 5 innings and striking out 7.
It's Pablo Sandoval, who homered early in last night's ball game. That was from the right side, hit it into the left center field gap against Caleb Smith, or I guess over the left center field gap, but a home run nonetheless. And it's a ball and a strike. Yeah, it was after that first inning, and Don Mattingly talked about it after the game. He said, that first at bat of the game, not the Posey walk or the McCutchen home run, but the Joe Panik at bat that was 11 pitches. And we've talked so much about a Miguel Rojas at bat in San Diego, or Brian Anderson last night. On the Marlins side of things, guys starting rallies, and it was Joe Panik last week that out of the leadoff spot kind of helped the rest of the Giants see what Straley had that day. .58 degrees at first pitch, and Straley going with the short sleeves.
Well, I'm willing to bet he knows what works here in San Francisco, and his success against the Giants probably has something to do with that.
Yeah.
If you pitched well here, much like you did last year, I remember a fantastic start here at AT Park. You're like, yeah, I wasn't wearing sleeves that day either.
I'll do it again. West Coast guy. Pacific Northwest.
1.13 ERA in 2 starts. That's getting it done.
This one is roped into right field, and that'll one hop the wall. Anderson picks it up, fires in. He's going to keep Sandoval at first, and Belt gets to third. A long, loud single for Pablo Sandoval.
Lots of exit velocity with this swing. Nice job by Brian Anderson in right field getting that ball in. Here it is, pitch up. Shoulder high, that's all right. Kung Fu Panda will get on top of that, no big thing. Seen him turn that around a few times in his career. Drives it into right field. Brian Anderson does a nice job. 1 hop. Good strong throw in. 113.9. Pitch by definition is at his eyes.
Yeah, that got out there rather rapidly. But by Anderson getting it in quickly, not only does it keep Sandoval at first, probably keeps Belt at third for Mac
That's what
Williams.
I told you all the time. See, it's better to break your bat right there. exit velocity got him.
Yeah. The 0-1 now to Williamson. Out to center field. Brinson underneath it and makes the play. Nice job by Straley to strand a couple in the first, but it's 1-0 after the Posey homer. Off your Venezuelan pride on Saturday, June 30th, as the Marlins take on the Mets. Purchase a ticket package to receive an exclusive Venezuelan heritage jersey. Visit marlins.com/themes to get your tickets today.
It's a good looking jersey.
That's right. And of course, Miguel Rojas from Venezuela. Rojas will bat after Starlin Castro here in the second inning. Castro fouls the first pitch back, 0-1. Castro in last night's ball game was 0 for 4, 2 for 16 on the road trip. And his struggles go back a little bit further than that. He's 2 for his last 21. The only 2 were the 2 doubles that he had on Sunday afternoon in Baltimore.
You know, for Starlin Castro, he really wants to get back to that line-to-line approach. He's in some ways lost right field. Many of his hits come that way. He's been pulling a lot of baseballs, particularly on the ground. You mentioned the 2 doubles. Those are the 2 pitches he's elevated on this road trip. Both going to the left side, left center field. Again, so many of his hits go to right center field, kind of just staying on it a little bit more. 77 hits in the National League. That is 6th.
This one is tapped. Side of the mound. Rodriguez, a strong throw to get Castro for the first out here in the second.
Catches it just a bit deep. Taps it to the left side. Rodriguez pounces off the mound. Huge strong throw to first base to get Castro to start the second inning.
It'll bring up Miguel Rojas, who had a huge hit the other way, right down the line, just inside the line last night. That scored the 5th Marlins run, 3rd of that inning, and helped them come back to win a ball game against the Giants again. They have won 4 of the first 5 games.
Well, no doubt about it. To me, that was as impressive a swing as we've seen him take this year, and you certainly hope it leads to more of those types of swings. For Rojas, a big part of his game is going the other way. 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Strickland shot it down the right field line. Had to feel good. He's been battling. Just a couple of games in Baltimore. Fouled the ball off, well, just about his entire body. Yeah. Little cheek action, hand action.
Yeah, the second time in, what, 2 or 3 weeks that he was hit by a pitch and then the ball bounced up and got each of his cheeks. And of course, that's why he's been wearing that that front flap the last few weeks. He's pretty much going to go out there in a suit of armor in a couple of weeks if this keeps up. I don't think he'll be as agile if he did that, though. So maybe that's.
I think he'd wear a football helmet if he knew he was going to get 4 hits that night.
That's right.
The mind of a hitter.
That was Friday night. Didn't play Saturday or Sunday, but was in the lineup last night. Came up with the big hit. This is a dribbler towards second. Panic off balance, and that one takes Belt off the first base bag. Be an error on Panic.
Yeah, that's the 54th error by the Giants. Probably has a lot more time than he thinks. Tries to stay down and kind of shuffle and throw from the fielding position. You know, watch, the throw pulls him right offline. Rojas is not even in the picture yet. The Marlins will gladly take it.
Runner on, 1 out for JT Riddle.
Think he panicked?
Probably. You're going to be here all night, right?
It's West Coast game, man. What do you want? These are the hits. Keep on coming.
Listen, you leave the bad, embarrassing jokes to me, right? You're supposed to be the professional up here.
Come on. It's just too easy. It was a layup. I had to take it. Clearly, there was panic in that. Come on.
What do you got for this guy? You got anything good for this guy?
Maybe a riddle. Riddle me this.
What has 12 on his back and just threw it wide of the first base bag? And then they put that up so that to identify who the dopes are that are calling the game. Come on. Best crew in America, ladies and gentlemen.
Where? Next door?
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Riddle. It's upstairs. Riddle was 0 for 1 in last night's ball game. He came in late as a pinch hitter and stayed in the game at shortstop as the Marlins really moved everybody around. Everybody except Lewis Brinson. As this one is lined into center field, a base hit. And Rojas takes a turn toward third. Here is the throw. And it's a little off the mark, and up to second goes Riddle.
That is what you love to see from Miguel Rojas. He set that all up beautifully. Now Riddle, he's had good at bats against Rodriguez. Homered against him last time in Miami. Another great swing. Remember that home run went to center field, so why not laser base hit to center field. Rojas hustling around second, really stepping on the gas, forces the throw. Sandoval comes off the bat. Guess what JT Riddle does? Yep, that's right. Slides right on into second base. Great base running by both Marlins.
So now Brinson with the base hit in last night's ball game. And he gets one right in the wallet. And all the Marlins on the top step of the dugout. And both sides have been warned by the home plate umpire, Andy Fletcher. Now, if you go back to last night, in case you missed it, there was quite the exchange between Strickland. This is the first pitch of the at-bat. Kind of comes up and in, Strickland does on Brinson. And then later in the at-bat, the base hit, flips the bat. He's pumped up. Strickland's not happy. Apparently was jawing at Brinson when he was over at third and first base. And then later, as Don Mattingly comes out.
Well, Don Mattingly's furious, and I completely understand why. This is, listen, whether we knew this was coming or not, now look where the position that the Marlins are in is that, players going to be instantaneously ejected when there's retaliation. But what do we know? There's already been retaliation. That's the point. That's what's going on. That's why Don Mattingly is furious.
And here's the question. What did Brinson do wrong last night?
And he just reacted to his base hit after getting one up near his head.
Exactly. Finish the thought in a second. There's a bases loaded and one out here for Dan Straley, who fouls the first pitch back. Again, the way I see it, and I obviously love your thoughts on this, Brinson's been grinding for 3 months of the season. 2 of those months he's been scuffling, right? And he's finally putting it together in June. He has made it no secret that he is excited that he finally feels like he's contributing offensively the last 2 or 3 weeks. So he's fired up. Another comeback win. And then Hunter Strickland doesn't take it very well. Clearly, another blown save. Brinson got him on the sac fly in Miami. Brinson's happy about it. Gets excited. And then Rodriguez, assuming now that that was on purpose.
Really?
Brinson's been okay then. So he's been hit and Brinson's on first. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. This story is not finished. I'm pretty certain of that. Like I said, Brinson retaliated by getting a base hit. I'm not going to even use the word retaliate. That's not the right word to use. Reacted to his success in the 9th inning.
After the first pitch was at his neck.
After the first pitch was at his neck. You see Rodriguez go to the breaking ball for out number 2. You're absolutely right. I mean, what person knocked down wouldn't want to get back up and do their job and have the success that he had? Now, was he animated on his way to first base? Absolutely. I don't think anybody in America would argue that point.
Sure.
Was it over the top? Absolutely not. Did he flip his bat in the air? Didn't. Did he throw it down to the ground too hard? Really? We're going to police that? Would you like for him to place it down next time?
Line out to center field, and Dorquez Hernandez puts it away. Now, this story is not over. Marlins leave him loaded, 1-0. I guess the developing story is that Lewis Brinson hit by the pitch by Derek Rodriguez. Both sides have been warned, as this one is sent out to right field and a long way back, and playing it off the wall is Anderson. Bare hands it, throws in, but it's going to be a double for Alan Hansen.
Impressive throw from Anderson once again. Opportunity to show off that cannon, just a little bit offline. He turned what was going to be a sure double into a, well, got a little dicey there for a second, right? Just a little bit offline. Hansen hustling all the way. Word is out.
Player showing emotion right there.
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, we can do this all night long. I mean, we'll just set ourselves up for that, though. That's why you don't want to wander down that path, because when you start to nitpick the game that way, just like the Giants did, it gets personal because everybody celebrates differently. I mean, you're absolutely right. Is there any difference between what we just witnessed from Hansen and what Brinson did last night on his way to first base, other than the fact that we were all put on point by the fact that Strickland decided to throw up and in? So what ends up happening is we're all sitting around waiting to see Brinson's reaction because the ball went up and in on him. Following me?
Yeah.
We're not waiting for Hansen's reaction here. It's just a double in the game. We're following it normally.
Dorkis Hernandez to deep left field. And that is a 2-run home run. Second homer hit tonight by the Giants. They've got a 3-0 lead.
Well, almost an identical game to 5 days ago in Miami for Dan Straley and for the Marlins. 8 batters in, down 3-0, 2 home runs surrendered. 2-run home run here in the second. It's a breaking ball that backs up, stays up. Hernandez unloads. This is a no-doubter. Don't see too many of those. Night game here in San Francisco.
This is the 8th home run of the season for Dorkis Hernandez, a total of 8 home runs in his previous 4 big league seasons. And a 2-run shot that gives the Giants a 3-0 lead. And as Derek Rodriguez steps in, of course, at the center of what we were talking about right before the Hernandez home run, there was some chatter around the cage today about, well, okay, so let's say that last night's the Brinson at bat goes the other way. Brinson doesn't get the hit, and Strickland, let's just say, strikes him out. And Strickland walks off the mound, and he's all pumped up and fired up and pumping his fists and everything else. Do we make any, we the media, we the masses, do we make a big deal out of that?
Right, well, I mean,
probably
listen,
not.
Paul, I mean, it's a test. It's simply, that's the way you have to see this. And the way that the Giants were going to perceive it, because Strickland decided to throw up and in, which certainly got not only our attention last night on Brinson as he hit the dirt to get out of the way, but it put the situation on point. So then we watched extra closely as Brinson hustled out of the box at some of the biggest moments of last night's ballgame, right? Did we not?
Yes.
We wouldn't even think of necessarily watching, with that type of detail every moment in a game, wondering if in fact a double leads to too much showmanship. Right?
I'm with you.
Because he did not cross that line. There's nothing that Brinson did that warranted what we saw in the top of last inning, top of this inning.
Here's Joe Panik. Takes a look at ball one. Panik lined out to Anderson in right field in the first inning. He's now 6 for his last 49 over his last 12 games and 1 at bat. Some time this year with a torn ligament in his left thumb. Has yet to really get back on track since then. Australia has surrendered 2 home runs in this ball game, 1 to Posey and 1 to Hernandez. Stay tuned in the middle of the 7th inning for the Ram game break.
You certainly hope Dan Straley can get back online. Again, a similar theme to his last start. Keep it right there. Keep it at 3-0. Give the Marlins bats an opportunity to wake up, get going. And was able to do that last time, 5 innings, and the Marlins battled back and tied last Thursday's game up at 3.
Upstairs to Panic. And that's the second walk tonight for Straley. Keep going back to, last week, the last time Straley faced the Giants, but you can go back to last night too. Similar to Caleb Smith in the sense that either Straley is, not the pinpoint control, or the Giants are just making them work. And now Posey gets it, and Straley has been thrown out of the game. Now the umpire's got to judge intent. It's not just that a guy gets hit by a pitch and he's out of the game. But now Bruce Bochy's a little fired up. That's it for Straley and Don Mattingly, as the crew chief Laz Diaz ushers Bochy back to the Giants dugout. Florida Lottery called to the bullpen, as Eliezer Hernandez will get as much time as he needs. Back to San Francisco in a moment. Takes over as the acting manager tonight, as we have a pitching change here, and everyone deserves a second chance. Just play Grouper, enter your lucky money ticket online, and you are registered for the $400,000 Super Grouper second chance promotion. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. So Eliezer Hernandez gets as much time as he needs to warm up. So while he is loosening up and getting set to take over, we'll take you back to last night in case you missed it. This is the ninth inning. Hunter Strickland goes up and in on Lewis Brinson, who later in the at-bat gets the base hit that ties the game. Brinson's pumped up. He fires his bat down. Strickland then glances at Brinson while he's at first. Later, when Strickland is lifted, jawing with him at third base. After the game, Strickland still frustrated, punches a wall or a door or whatever it may have been. He's on the 10-day DL with a broken hand. Tonight, Derek Rodriguez right in the hip or the side of Brinson. So he takes his base nice and quietly. Then both sides are worn. Don Mattingly not happy about that, because I guess Brinson really didn't do anything wrong. So Dan Straley goes up, not really up and in, I suppose, but a little up on Posey. And then Straley is ejected. Bochy's not happy about it. And here we are. Todd Hollinsworth, your thoughts?
My thoughts haven't changed. I think it might have been pretty clear from the moment we got here. I mean, again, none of this had to happen. None of this had to go down. We heard from Strickland last night after the game, water under the bridge, moving on, whatever the phrase was that he used. I'm paraphrasing. That's not quotes from me. But the idea was that this is over and done with. Again, Brinson came out of the box, definitely showed emotion, definitely was in response, not in retaliation, in response to being thrown up and in. That's where it should have ended. They exchange words, you move on. Now we come back here today. I wasn't anticipating anything happening today. I certainly didn't believe that Brinson had nothing to do with him breaking his hand, did he? Of course not. That's my point. So, I mean, where does the frustration lie? Where do we take this to? So who's angry? I mean, who broke his hand? So here we are. There's no doubt the intent, the ball that was literally almost put in his hip pocket. And then the Marlins retaliate. Simple stuff.
So Hernandez takes over, and again, he'll be pitching in his 10th game this year. I'll ask you this on the Marlins side of things. Assuming, and I don't know if it was, we can certainly, I guess, surmise that later with Straley, whether or not it was intentional or not, was that the right place to do it if it was in fact intentional? And then again, they'll probably never admit to it, and I understand that. But 3-0 game, and you got to go to your bullpen. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, that's what got Bruce Bochy out of the dugout, in my personal opinion, and I think I'm probably pretty
because
close
of
to
who
right.
was hit.
Because of who was hit. That's
Posey.
exactly right. That's right. It's your 5-time All-Star, Silver Slugger, winning. Right. I mean, everything player. You know, you're not going forward without Buster Posey, and I get that. I certainly understand that. But again, that's the, dare I use the word, irrational behavior that starts to happen when we talk about, paybacks. Who gets paid back? When does somebody get paid back? Who's the right guy to hit? Who's not supposed to be hit? What are the rule? You throw the rule book out. Well, there isn't even a rule book for all of this because, again, I didn't even see this coming today. I thought it was water under the bridge after everything we saw from yesterday. And most of yesterday was self-explanatory. And this is sometimes the problem that you have in baseball, is that we choose to police certain spots of our game and certain athletes in our game at different moments, and it's not right. We don't police it all. It's either get all in or get all out or leave it alone. When we walk around and we continue to judge, we judge those moments. Brinson got judged on a moment, right? Well, we've watched how many other players in this series, even going back to last week, that have had moments, that have reacted to those moments, pointed to the sky or whatever else it is.
Right.
That could be misinterpreted.
Andrew McCutchen swings at the first pitch from Hernandez, and this one is going to drop in shallow right field. Marlins had the infield swung around. But that ball hung up just long enough that Panic had to hang at second base, and they will be loaded for Brandon Belt. Jose Urena and Derek Holland tomorrow, as our Marlins Live pregame show is on the air at 3 o'clock. First pitch is a little after 3:45 tomorrow afternoon, in fact. A getaway day here in San Francisco before heading to Colorado. An off day before a 3-game series with the Rockies. Well, Eliezer Hernandez in out of the pen early with 1 out in the second, and the bases are loaded. First pitch to Belt in there for a called strike. Belt walked in the first inning. One of 2 walks for Straley to go along with the hit by pitch of Posey. Misses low, and it's 2 balls and a strike. The Marlins have done a lot of coming back against the San Francisco Giants over the course of the last week or so, but already down 3-0 here. You can't let that gap get much wider.
Be very careful with this guy in the box. He's one of their most dangerous hitters, really, under all circumstances. He's really turned himself into an elite left-handed hitter in this National League.
Hernandez got the benefit of that last call, and it's now 2 balls and 2 strikes. But not the benefit of that one. The count is now full.
Borderline pitch. I guess viewed as down.
Payoff pitch to Belt. Misses low and in. And the Giants have a 4-0 lead. That run charged to Dan Straley. And now Pablo Sandoval. A hard hit base hit in the first inning for Sandoval. A liner to right field. A long single for him. Ball and a strike. A tough spot for the young Hernandez as he came in with 1 out and 2 on. As this one is fielded by Castro, the flip to Riddle and over to first, and that's a double play. A big double play there for Hernandez. 4-0 here in eventful San Francisco.
Presented by Coors Light. Download the app and take Fox Sports Florida, Marlins baseball wherever you go.
Top of the 4th inning. Top of the 3rd inning, rather. A 4-0 lead for the Giants, and top of the order for the Marlins, Dietrich, Anderson, and Real Muto. In fact, it's Anderson, Real Muto, and Bohr. Forgive me, of course. That top of the 2nd had a little.
We'll forgive you.
Had a little business.
You're distracted
going
right
on.
now.
Anderson to right field, and it's McCutchen on the line drive. 1 away. Can I ask you one more thing?
Sure.
While you're here.
Here all night.
As we found out after the panic joke. You know, like, is it fair that Rodriguez is still out there?
Well,
You know what I mean? Like
that's
he
the problem.
essentially started
All right, well,
it tonight.
Now you've already backed up to Andy Fletcher, you know, warning both sides. I mean, that's the thing. That's the interpretation of the rule. And I certainly understand and certainly respect what he's trying to avoid here. He doesn't want this to get out of control. This isn't mano-a-mano paybacks. Where does it stop? You know, he's putting a stop to it right there. See the ground ball to the left side. Just gets the speedy JT Realmuto. Point being that, you know, Don Mattingly's now thrust into a position where he's been ejected from the game because of obviously what happened. And, you know, it all happens because of the warnings. And again, I think that I think, you know, anybody associated with the Marlins right now is just completely surprised at what happened. I think we were kind of thinking maybe something, you know, I don't know, but really kind of sort of. I mean, it was just like, was what he did last night warrant being thrown out again? I mean, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I absolutely understood Brinson's emotion personally, on a personal level, and on the team level. It was a huge moment in the ball game. Let's not forget what he did. This wasn't just a base hit in the 5th inning.
right.
Tied up the baseball game, for crying out loud. That was a huge moment. To your point, you know, a young man who's been struggling and is now starting to put together some moments. Now the jawing back and forth. Oh, by the way, it was mutual.
Yeah,
It wasn't one-sided. It was. I mean, we've got as much coverage of Strickland yelling at him as we've got Brinson yelling back.
It's the competitive juices.
Absolutely,
of athletes.
absolutely. So, at least in my personal opinion, and I know that a lot of people have different opinions on all of these things. This isn't me pointing the finger. I'm just saying that nobody chose to stop this. And again, it was in the Giants' court to say, okay, well, you know, how are we going to assess it? All right, well, they fired this back up again tonight by putting one in his hip pocket.
Yeah.
And the Marlins responded.
That one misses low to Bohr. And it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. And again, Strickland has been in the middle of conflict in the past, most notably with Bryce Harper. He's given up a few homers to Harper in big spots, postseason, what have you. This one right back to Rodriguez, who works a 1-2-3 third. I'm sure we'll talk more throughout the night. 4-0 Giants.
Smile Tuesday, and in preparation of the All-Star Game, we're using that hashtag ASG. Let's get you updated on what balloting currently looks like for the National League. A couple of Giants and Buster Posey and Brandon Crawford. The Braves well represented with Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, and Nick Markakis. To cast your vote for Marlins players, go to marlins.com. You can vote 5 times a day, up to 35 times. The guys' voting ends July 5th at 11:59 p.m.
Jessica, thank you so very much.
Tell you what, is there an Braves initiative? Did you see Markakis' ballot total there? He's well over him. He's got more than Harper.
Well, I mean, he's never been there.
Well, right, and this is the other thing that I was going to ask. This is not a knock on Nick Markakis because he deserves to go to the All-Star game, but it's kind of bothering me because then I can't say he's got 2,000 hits and he's never been to the All-Star game.
I think it's JP, right? Juan Pierre has the most hits, right, among players who've never been to an All-Star game, other than Nick Markakis, who looks to be on his way. And through July 5th, Marlins.com or MLB.com. As Mac Williamson will lead things off, then Alan Hansen and Gorkys Hernandez against Eliezer Hernandez. This one chopped to third. Rojas with an off-balance throw gets Williamson for the first out.
Get an exclusive Billy the Marlin pool float presented by AutoNation when you enter the ballpark on Saturday, June 30th, as the Marlins take on the Mets. Purchase your tickets today at marlins.com/tickets.
I think pool floats are the only way I get in the water.
You scared of sharks?
Out here, yeah. Did you end up swimming from Alcatraz to the Embarcadero?
No.
Like you were planning on?
No, I wasn't planning on that.
You weren't? I mean,
first of all,
I could have made that
the
up.
water here is way too cold,
Frigid
for my sensitive skin. It's chilly.
It is cold. It's brisk. It's set about 58 degrees in first pitch. The San Francisco summer doesn't show up until about October, though, right?
That is about right. It starts to warm up.
I think you could have done that. You have to worry about the currents, though. You don't, from what I've understood, what I've heard from other people who actually have done it. I know people who have swam from there to the mainland.
Do I look like somebody that would be good in the water?
Probably not. You're better than I would.
Got sharks. All
Sharks, yes, but also the currents. Like, you don't aim right for, you know, a building. You aim to the right of it or something. As Hansen into right field, he tested the arm the first time and made it safely. This time, not so much. And a fired up Alan Hansen is on for the second time tonight. And Eliezer Hernandez in out of the pen after Dan Straley was ejected from this ball game after hitting Buster Posey after both benches had been warned. But it was Straley who gave up the home run to Gorkys Hernandez in the bottom of the second.
I certainly understand Hansen's enthusiasm. He's broken out of his little slump. Came into tonight's ball game 0 for his last 11. So showing some emotion. Makes sense.
Hernandez holds up on the Hernandez offering, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Gorkys also broke out. He had been 0 for 9 his last 9 before the home run to left center field. Now this one out to left center field, but not as deep as the last one. It will fall in front of Dietrich. Hansen will get up to second base. The bottom of the order doing some damage between Hansen and Hernandez. They've got themselves 4 hits. It's time now for the Toyota inside look. Giants play extremely well at home with a .613 win percentage. Not so extremely well on the road. That differential of win percentage is the largest in Major League Baseball. A difference of 232 percentage points. And San Francisco, obviously back home for this series, but back home for a lot of baseball. 19 of their next 25 games here at AT Park as they throw to second base, but Hansen is back in time by a little bit.
It'll be interesting to see San Francisco Giants and where the season goes for them. 26-25 versus teams with a winning record above 500. They're actually 4 games under 500 against teams below 500. 9-13.
Rodriguez squares, pops it up, and Real Muto for the second out. Back to the top for Joe Panik. It's a Twitter and email Tuesday. We got one from Dylan. Said just wanted to say how much fun the 25th anniversary weekend was. Huge thanks to the Marlins organization. Been alive for 21 of the team's 25 years of existence. A diehard fan for as long as I can remember. This was only the second time at the new ballpark on Saturday. Keeps reminding me of how much more I need to go. Absolutely. He says keep up the great work to our entire team. So thank you, Dylan, and keep the emails and tweets coming. An 0-1 to Panik, who lined out and also walked and scored in the second. Alan Hansen on at second. Gorkys Hernandez, the runner at first. Five innings of work the last time out for Hernandez. That was on the Thursday, in extra innings. The last game of that 4-game series. 4 hits and 3 runs. As Panik sends one out to center field. Brinson back, now racing in, and a basket catch puts it away for the final out here in the third. What a play. Wind aided, perhaps. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. A 4-0 deficit for Miami as we head to the top of the 4th inning. Starlin Castro, Miguel Rojas, and JT Riddle. A similar 4-0 deficit that the Marlins had last night at this same time. However, they didn't get runs on the board until the 5th when they scored 2 and then 3 in the 9th inning. Come back yet again against the San Francisco Giants. Castro's first at bat. Little tapper to the third base side of the mound. Rodriguez pounced on it and retired the Marlins second baseman. Way outside, 2 balls and a strike. Castro hitting in the number 5 spot in the Marlins order tonight, but he has led off a couple of innings against Derek Rodriguez. Sharply hit the other way, and Panik can't corral that one. And Castro will reach. Sharply hit, and Panik had to move to his left. We'll see how they score it, but either way, Castro is aboard to lead off the inning. That will be a hit for Starlin Castro.
Maybe to see Starlin going the other way.
So now it's Rojas, who reached on a Panik error in the 2nd. I'm sure you may have a good feeling against a team. Obviously, we've talked about it a million times with how many opportunities the Marlins have had to come back against the Giants in the last week. But the bottom line is it's a new game from day to day. The mentality, though, stays the same. Would you like to score 4 runs or more in this inning? Absolutely. But there's still a lot of baseball left, and the mentality of starting to chip away is probably how the Marlins are going to attack this thing, by getting hits and bunching them together as Rojas goes into the right center field gap. Thought about it, but will stay at first while Castro advances to third.
Now back-to-back base hits. There's Starlin. Rojas thinking about going the other way. They've set it up. Nice job. Good approach. Balanced swing. Told you about batting practice today. Miguel Rojas continues to work on that off field.
Spot here for the Marlins with runners on the corner. Sandoval in at third as JT Riddle fouls that one off. And Belt essentially in by holding on Rojas at first.
Well, Riddle's had the best at bats against Rodriguez. You go back to the game in Miami. Long home run to center field, a base hit to center field tonight as well.
Derek Rodriguez, 11 years old when the Marlins won the World Series in 2003. His dad, Pudge, played a huge role in that. This is what, his 5th major league start, right? I've already seen his dad at least 2 or 3 of them. So Pudge getting the frequent flyer miles in. Ball and 2 strikes to JT Riddle. Lines this one out to right field. And that's over the head of McCutchen and into Triple's alley. Rojas is chugging around third. Here's the throw from Panik. It's off the mark, and it's a 2-run triple for JT Riddle. The Marlins marching back in this one again.
Absolutely. Good at bat after good at bat. Base hit, triple. Riddle. He's kind of set it up, trying to get to Riddle. He's been swinging the bat so well of late. Watch this good balanced swing, change up down. It was a big pitch for Rodriguez early in this ball game. Goes to it once again. Riddle able to get it over the head of Andrew McCutchen in right. And watch Riddle. And Rojas had to read it. Riddle pushed him hard, I'll tell you. Freddie had it read the entire way as that ball makes its way into that tough corner at 421 feet away. You really want to start pushing those base runners around the bases.
Well, the Marlins back to within 2. Mentioned it a moment ago. It was in the 5th inning when they started to cut into that 4-0 deficit last night, but they make noise here in the 4th tonight. Outside to Brinson, 2-0. .56% of the time the runner has scored with less than 2 outs with Brinson, above the league average. Try to add to those numbers here. Down the right field line, McCutchen in the corner. That one will fall foul.
Well, both right fielders really chasing after fly balls, even ones that they feel like are going to be foul. That wind, we talked about it, really blowing hard from right to left.
Flags are whipping around. The palm trees beyond the left field wall are whipping around. Wind around 20 miles an hour. Andy Fletcher says that Brinson swung. Didn't even check with the first base umpire, Jansen Visconti, and it's 2-2.
Those hands got just a bit away from his body right there. Breaking ball off the outside corner.
Two and two now from Rodriguez. Swung on and missed. Strike 3.
Well, big first out. That's the changeup. Think back to the first inning. Dietrich and Anderson both saw that changeup to start the ball game. Strikeout victims. And Rodriguez able to get there once again.
Now with 1 out, the Giants move the infield in against Hernandez, who can't hold up there. It's 0-1. Singles from Castro and Rojas to start the inning before the 2 RBI triple from JT Riddle. And the Marlins back to within 2 here in the 4th. And if you're just joining us, Hernandez came in the bottom of the 2nd inning after Dan Straley had been ejected for hitting Buster Posey. And in the eyes of home plate umpire Andy Fletcher, after the benches had already been worn, there was intent behind that. So Straley's day was done, as that one is lined sharply foul. I don't think that missed Derek Dietrich in the on-deck circle by all that much.
Well, there's also some exit velocity. You probably didn't see it go by.
Either heard it or felt it go by.
Right.
1-2. The 6 2/3 last time out for Rodriguez, the longest start of his career through 94 pitches. He's at 70 with 1 out here in the 4th. But he's got another strikeout. That's 5 and back-to-back Ks here in the 4th.
For storm season, we are. See how you can prepare at fpl.com/storm.
That'll bring up Derek Dietrich now. A little upstairs. Ball 1. Dietrich struck out in the 1st, lined out to center field in the 2nd inning. 289 hitter this year with runners in scoring position. He's got one now. Riddle at 3rd. And 1-2 to Dietrich. Now the 1-2 pitch is upstairs. The count even up at 2-2. Rodriguez played high school ball at Chaminade Madonna High School in Hollywood before transferring to Monsignor Pace for his senior year. A Marlins fan growing up, got a chance to pitch at the new ballpark his last time out. Said he didn't have any nerves. It's just another game. And that got Dietrich. And Posey wants to know whether or not he actually got out of the way of it, immediately turning to the home plate umpire. But Dietrich's aboard with 2 outs. And now Bochy wants to have a word with Fletcher.
Well, let's take another look. Posey wants that ball up, gets inside just a little bit. Dietrich's elbow. Guard that is on it. Kind of hang it out over the plate. See the little recoil as he makes his way to first base.
Now, again, as we said before, warnings issued, but the umpire has to judge whether or not there was intent to hit a player.
Discretion, absolutely.
Line to right field and down for a base hit. Anderson's got another hit with runners in scoring position, and Dietrich will hold up at third as Riddle scores on the RBI double for Brian Anderson. It's 4-3.
Hitting .406 coming into tonight's ball game with runners in scoring position. How many times this season, Paul, have we seen Anderson go the other way with runners in scoring position?
Roughly 1,000.
It feels like it, right? We've watched this. It's almost like it's on a loop. Gets anything he can handle up, out over the plate. He is looking to go the other way. Great approach once again. So he lines it into that right field corner.
Reyes Maranta has moved over to the bullpen mound on the left field line for the Giants after Brian Anderson's RBI double. Closes the gap to 1. And that will bring up JT Realmuto. Doubled in the first and grounded out in the third as Maranta loosens. It's the 78th pitch for Rodriguez, and it's outside. Tap foul, 1-1. Well, the Marlins seem to be at it again. Not all the way back, but equaling the 3 spot the Giants scored in the bottom of the second inning with 3 of their own here in the 4th. And a base hit likely gives them a lead. 1-2 now to JT. This series will wrap up tomorrow. Marlins Live pregame show presented to you by your South Florida Honda dealers. Craig Minervini, Jeff Nelson get you set for Jose Urena and Derek Holland. Again, 3 o'clock East Coast time, 3:45 first pitch. And Realmuto strikes out to end it, but the Marlins get 3 back and trail it by 1 going to the last of the 4th. Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Cleveland Clinic, stiff joints, aches and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by the Lincoln Spring Sales Event, drive into spring in a new Lincoln. A crisp night here in San Francisco. But another fun ball game between the Marlins and the Giants unfolding as Anderson has come through, and oh, by the way, with the RBI double, has extended his on-base streak to now 17 games. JT Riddle, a 2-run triple in that inning as well. As Buster Posey swings at the first pitch, pops it up, and that one is into the 3rd or 4th row. It's Posey, McCutchen, and Belt here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Giants had a 4-0 lead going into the top of this inning, with the Marlins fighting back as they have quite a bit in this season series. Oh, 0-2. Posey with a home run in the 1st inning. He was hit by a pitch Dan Straley. That was the moment in time that Straley was ejected from this ball game. That one low, ball and 2 strikes. On the year now, 8 for 23. 6 runs scored against the Marlins for Buster Posey. Well, if Hernandez can do tonight what Drew Rosinski did in last night's ball game, and that is give the Marlins some length, then I think they would be happy with that. 3 perfect innings from Rosinski in last night's ball game, and that was after Caleb Smith only gave him 4, and kind of kept them in the ball game.
No doubt about it. Certainly been a big thing. This bullpen has been able to pick up the starters at time, give quality innings. Great slider right there at 81 miles an hour off the outside corner. Certainly was set up by the 2-seam fastball to the inside part of the plate. Let's see it one more time. The 2-seamer certainly got up underneath his hands once again, but you open up that outside corner. Good job getting that down and out of the strike zone. The bullpen's been fabulous. Last 14 games, 1.99 ERA. That is best in the National League. And it has been a little bit of, what we're talking about. It's been late game, it's been saves, it's been Bear Claw, it's been Steckenrider, but it's been also the middle guys too. There's no doubt there's been a number of games where the short start has, leaked into the bullpen. The bullpen has responded. Look at these ranks the last couple of weeks.
That's in Major League Baseball.
Right.
Big swing by McCutchen. Lost his footing there. It looks to be all right, thankfully.
Right. And you see these fantastic ranks throughout Major League Baseball, which, again, it tells you how good the bullpen's been. But when you compare it, throw it in a, compare to what they were last in Major League Baseball in ERA, with an ERA over 5 coming in. I mean, those are huge strides. Now, is this a hot stretch? Probably is. They're going to probably cool off a little bit. You certainly don't want to see it, but the idea is that it's a big reason why they're winning baseball right now. Don Mattingly certainly admitting that as well. It's been the most complete baseball the Marlins have played over the last 2 weeks.
Well, those numbers have led to a 9-5 record the last 14 games for the Marlins. On the flip side of things, the San Francisco Giants have been scuffling a little bit. They've lost 6 of 8.
What's the theme? I mean, despite everything else that's gone on tonight, I mean, again, the Marlins have battled back once again. Not all the way. Still got some work to do, but that's what's going on. And if you're in a Giants uniform right now, you're feeling, oh, here they come again. It's happened 9 times in 5 games.
been no shortage of emotion in these now 5.5 games that they've played together, played with each other. I guess more than that, because it was a 16-inning game. So you guys really had like a 5-game series, if you really want to break it down. But McCutcheon, a fly ball out to shallow left field. 4 Marlins are in the area, but it's going to be, of course, the second baseman Castro in shallow left to make the play. I guess I'll write that down as a 4 with an S. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's 2 outs. Start your day with First Things First. Join Chris Carter, Nick Wright, and Jenna Wolf for the best morning sports show on television. First Things First, weekdays on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Your morning routine just got a whole lot more fun. Brandon Belt, a couple of walks in this ball game, is last with the bases loaded that brought home a run. That at the time gave the Giants a 4-0 lead.
A fantastic changeup.
Didn't chase that one. 2 balls and a strike. Well, with that quirky schedule, you've had 4 starting pitchers face the same team in back-to-back starts, as Rojas will just run out of room as that one got into that, I believe it's a camera well down there, or some sort of a on-field box of some sort. Looks like there might be fans in there. Anyway, Rojas didn't have enough room to make the play. And the 4 starters, and now you've got Hernandez, who threw 5 innings in that 16-inning game.
Highly effective, and you know the theme has been quite similar. Remember how so many of these games have gone. The Giants have raced out some of their best at bats early in the game. First time through the lineup, we were already talking exit velocity early on in this game.
That's right.
The tone has kind of come back the Marlins' way.
Lined and caught at short by Riddle. That's a 1-2-3 inning to the 5th. As we head to the top of the 5th inning, middle game of a 3-game series in what has been a very eventful, for many different reasons, season series between these two teams. Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth. Well, we've had a lot of comebacks between these two clubs in the first 5 games.
And we had some emotion last night. Tonight we've got a little bit more emotion.
Well,
pitcher ejected.
That's absolutely right. There's no doubt that emotion has been a big part of this series, and that really does happen when you've got comebacks, you've got reaction to comebacks, you've got the Giants trying to kind of straighten things out. You know, before they met the Marlins last week in Miami, they were 2.5 games out playing some great baseball. They just beat Max Scherzer.
A floater that will fall in off the bat of Justin Bour to lead off.
We certainly remember the storylines for the San Francisco Giants coming in. I mean, they were about ready. They were kind of hinting at taking over the National League West. They lose 3 of 4 to Miami, and again, obviously all the comebacks. They lose 2 of 3 to the Dodgers, and they get, you know, beat last night on another comeback. I mean, the momentum for the Giants has been bad, and so you wonder sometimes that negative energy can lead to one thing, you know, one thing or another, a response to certain things that go on in a series. And you're absolutely right. A lot of that emotion is now poured out onto the field.
There was some on-field frustration last night by closer Hunter Strickland after giving up the lead. He was visibly frustrated with Lewis Brinson, who got the hit to tie it. They were talking at or to, or whatever you want to call it, one another as Strickland left the ball game. And then after Strickland goes into the clubhouse, the reports are that he punched a wall, punched a door, did something that broke his hand. He has been placed on the disabled list as Castro grounds one to short. Hanson to panic to Belt. Then there are 2 away. So that took care of last night's emotion, and Brinson was hit by a pitch in his first at bat tonight, first plate appearance. Bench is warned, and Straley hit Buster Posey and was thrown out of the game along with Don Mattingly.
Right. I haven't really looked around the league to see if, you know, everybody's experiencing kind of some of these piggyback series that the Marlins have faced this year, but it's really hard to deny. And again, I haven't really placed a whole lot of thought behind it, but you do know that when teams typically play each other more and more and more, things like what happened tonight tend to happen. You just get so familiar with each other. You know, you read between the lines, you interpret or misinterpret things that are going on, or intent, however you choose to look at it. And next thing you know, you've got events going on in the field that are not baseball related, if you will.
Right. So now Tim Wallach, the active manager tonight. The 0-2 to Rojas is fouled away.
You continue to see that conscious effort from Rojas, who's now picked up his 4th hit on the road trip tonight. Really trying to stay inside the baseball and drive that ball to center field, right center.
Oh, 2 to Miggy is in the dirt and to the backstop. Again, it's a Twitter email Tuesday. We got one here from Christian, who says that he played with Derek in high school. Both graduated together from Monsignor Edward Pace High School, class of 2011. Had the pleasure of meeting him at the game last week. Just won our state championship earlier this month. Born in Arlington, Texas, grew up in Miami, and now pitching in the big leagues. His dad Pudge, part of that 03 World Series championship team. He said of that start last time out, it's a big field. It was a fun day out there, a little humid, but it was fun playing back here in Miami. One thing it is not tonight is humid. It's chilly. From last Thursday in Miami when it was, what, 88 degrees? Tonight a 30-degree difference.
Oh, it's refreshing, isn't it?
It is. It actually is.
That's right.
We've got scarves and hoods and panda hats.
Some of the best.
And a line drive right field, and McCutcheon will put that one away for out number 3. We're midway through it. A 1-run game in San Francisco. last of the 5th inning. Geico presents this day in Marlins history. The Marlins beat the Braves 12-2, and every starter had at least one hit, including the winning pitcher Chuck Smith. Four had a couple of hits. Derek Lee had 3 hits. Cliff Floyd a home run, Kevin Millar a home run, and Alex Gonzalez a home run. On this day in 2001. Pablo Sandoval to lead things off for the Giants takes outside. After him is Mac Williamson and Alan Hansen here in the bottom of the 5th against Eliezer Hernandez.
Well, Sandoval really cranking it up over his last 12 games. 4 homers, 10 RBIs. Single tonight. So grounded into a double play.
Two and 2/3 out of the pen tonight for Hernandez to this point. He's at 51 pitches right now. You figure he's probably still got another 15, 20, maybe 30 in his arm, but we'll see. It's 3-1 now to the man they call Kung Fu Panda. He takes ball 4. Check in with Jessica Blaylock. Let's go down to Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, one former Marlin who has some very good memories when it comes to playing the Giants is Dontrell Willis. Back in 2003, the Marlins began their playoff push by beating San Francisco 3-1 in the NLDS. You know how that postseason played out. There's that championship ring with that stat engraved on it. D-Train also adding that hashtag Giant Killers. Todd, great memories for you that year, too.
Well, absolutely. San Francisco Giants, a formidable foe. We knew the circumstances. We really wanted to get things wrapped up in Game 4. We did not want to come back here and try to win again against Jason Schmidt. He was one of the toughest right-handers in the game at that time. We knew he was waiting in Game 5, and how many people really realized how important Game 4 was to us in Miami. The need to win that game, almost unmeasurable. I mean, we talked about it leading into the moment. We've got to win. I mean, Schmidt had absolutely handled us in Game 1. We knew flying all the way back out here to play a Game 5 against him in this environment. Some of the best fans in baseball here in San Francisco would have been a really, really tough game to win.
So really, anytime these teams get together, it's hotly contested action.
Well, I mean, it's definitely got some history behind it.
Williamson spins out of the way of that one. 3-1. Well, again, the Marlins have fared well against the Giants. They, at the moment, lead the season series 4-1. They were 5-1 against the Giants last year, and that 9-2 record, the club's best against any National League opponent since the start of last season. And at AT&T Park since 2010, 20-9. As Williamson actually tried to send that one to the Oakland Coliseum, comes up empty, 3-2. The Marlins actually have the best record in the majors in that time, since 2010 here at AT&T Park. Non-Giants division, I assume. As Williamson walks, that's back-to-back, and now 3 in the game for Hernandez.
And the Marlins bullpen is going to get hot.
It's Brad Ziegler heading down there. Juan Nieves is going to come out. Maranta loosening in the Giants pen, and has been for the last inning or so. It's Hansen now, then Gorkys, Hernandez, and then the pitcher Derek Rodriguez. So depending how these next few batters go, you might see Maranta. And depending on how these next few batters go, you might see Ziegler.
Generally speaking, close ball games, that's what happens. Certainly things have changed a little bit in the Giants bullpen as well, as they've lost their closer.
We showed you the record that the Marlins have since, I believe the date was June 5th, right? But either way, they've won 9 of 14 games. And it seems as though they've, whether it's been Don Mattingly or tonight, Tim Wallach, or Juan Nieves, they've had a pretty good feel as to when to make the change, when to get the pitcher out and keep the game within striking distance. Tonight, with Don Mattingly having been ejected earlier, it'll be up to Tim Wallach.
Well, Ziegler's been able to provide some versatility. See him loosening in the Marlins bullpen. What I mean by that is last 8 appearances, he's actually gone more than an inning. So again, his role has changed, no longer the closer, but he's adapted to his new role very well. And it wasn't as simple as, oh, okay, well, he's going to work the 6th to the 7th inning now and kind of keep to that same regimen that he had originally as the closer. He's actually proven to be quite versatile down there. Provided 4 outs, at least 4 outs on multiple occasions.
Yeah, they've been much better at matching him up as opposed to, like you said, just here's your inning, 7th or 8th or whatever it might be. Cognizant effort, conscious effort, that is, to make sure Ziegler can come in the right spots that he can be most effective, and he certainly has been. Now it's up to Hernandez to be effective. Down on the count, 2-1 to Alan Hansen, who rips one down the right field line and into the seats over the head of Ziegler. 2-2.
Certainly need to be careful with Hansen tonight. He has been on it. Swinging the bat very well. Mentioned the hitless streak coming in.
Two and two on the way. It's chopped foul. Next pitch for Hernandez will be number 65. Now, he has started a few games this season, but he's gotten as high as 82. Did so in that 16-inning game when he worked 5 innings. Came in the 12th as Hansen out to right field. Onto the track is Anderson, and that one is going to fall in. And being waved around is Sandoval. Here's the throw from Castro. It's a little off the mark. And the Giants are in front 5-3. That is 3 hits tonight for Hansen, 2 extra base hits.
All 3 hits, rockets, including this one, deep fly ball into right center field. You watch Brian Anderson, a little reroute there at the last second, and the jump gets over the top of his glove, able to secure the catch. Giants had some traffic around 2nd and 3rd. Sandoval got clogged up there. Actually benefited from the throw. You watch Sandoval, he actually went back to tag. Kind of stopped things up. Able to score that throw from Castro up the first base line a bit.
So Tim Wallach comes out, going to make a double switch. We'll handle all the particulars when we come back. Hernandez out, Ziegler in. The Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. So who's for the Marlins as Brian Anderson moves from right to third, and J.B. Shuck comes in the game to play right field. As part of a double switch, Brad Ziegler comes in. And Ziegler with the infield playing in 2-on in scoring position against Gorkys Hernandez. Kelby Tomlinson onto the on-deck circle for the Giants, but right now the focus on Hernandez, who is 2 for 2, a home run in the second. He slashes this one foul.
See Brad's numbers on the season: 591 ERA, 7 consecutive scoreless appearances over 8 innings, 7 strikeouts. He's been pitching very well coming in.
Corners are in for the Marlins. The middle infielders, Riddle and Castro, about even with the bag as this one is popped up. Shallow center field. Castro's out and can't make the catch. Not an easy play at all. And Castro's down in center field.
Well, this is the second or third time tonight we've seen some defensive shifting, or infield in this case, that puts the Marlins in a vulnerable spot in the shallow outfield. And Brinson really no shot at this, playing deep. Castro holding that left wrist. Take another look. Entire infield in pursuit of this pop-up. Brinson in, Castro looking for help.
And immediately grabbed that left wrist.
Hernandez able to make his way into second base because all the middle infielders were in pursuit of the pop-up.
So this is Hunter Pence off the Giants bench now. They lead it 6-3 and ground it to Riddle, who will freeze Hansen at third and get the out at first. And now Brett Graves up for the Marlins. And Joe Panik has been intentionally walked to load the bases for Buster Posey. Probably ask, well, why did he do that? Well, you got a ground ball pitcher on the mound, 1 out, force anywhere. You're hoping Ziegler executes better than Posey does.
Posey's grounded into 7 double plays this season.
And that bat splinters. Second time tonight we've seen that.
Catching it off the end of the bat. Top splitting.
Posey with a home run in the first inning, was hit by a pitch in the second. That was the last pitch Dan Straley threw before he was ejected, and he struck out in the fourth. The 0-1. Popped up right side. Bohr gives chase, but into the seats. 0-2. Posey's homer gave the Giants a 1-0 lead in the first inning. They scored 3 runs in the second inning. The Marlins got 3 back in the top of the fourth to close it to a 4-3 deficit. Giants have scored 2 thus far here in the fifth. Ziegler and the Marlins trying to keep it right there, within striking distance. Just below the zone. Ziegler wanted that one. 1-2. Tie block on the left. Reyes Maranta on the right. Time called. Right back to Ziegler. And that is why you load the bases. To get the force anywhere. A 1-2-3 double play. We'll check in with the studio after the break. That game got a little fired up today at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, I don't think Sean Kemp did.
He might have been fired up somewhere. I don't know.
Probably not at Wrigley Field, though.
Could have been. Oh, I haven't kept tabs on Sean Kemp in a while.
You seen my Sean Kemp T-shirt? I actually brought it on this trip.
Did you really?
I did.
I used to have the Sean Kemp shoes when I played basketball in high school. They were like the green and the green and black one.
Right.
Yeah.
I had the one, Sean Kemp and Gary Payton.
Yeah. Anyway, tie block in the ball game for the Giants. As JT Riddle taps in foul 0-2. It's Riddle, Brinson, and then Shuck as part of the double switch against the lefty block. 5 innings from Derek Rodriguez. 7 hits, 3 earned runs. Didn't walk anybody and 6 strikeouts. Riddle breaks his bat right back to block. 1 away.
Are you ready for storm season? We are. See how you can prepare at fpl.com/storm.
Comebacker for Riddle. And now block will face Brinson.
Now block, sinker, changeup, curve, and slider. Marlins quite familiar with him. New career high last Thursday, 6 2/3.
Well, Brinson has been in the middle of it all this series. Of course, the base hit that tied it last night, the hit by pitch that continued the emotions, frustrations, whatever you want to call it. He also struck out in the fourth. That one slap foul, 1-2. In the dirt. Count even up, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, Brinson has been a different guy. In March, the last few days of March through May, hit 152, 198 on base percentage, 257 slugging percentage. Struck out 32.5% of the time in 53 games. As he comes up empty here, but in June, entering tonight, a 300 hitter.
Well, for Block, right back to the changeup. As I said, Marlins saw an awful lot of him that last game in Miami. 6 2/3. 83 pitches thrown. It was almost exclusively fastball changeup. Did mix in a couple curveballs and sliders, only 5 apiece, but threw 32 changeups in those 6 innings.
J.B. Shuck. 0 for 1 in last night's ball game. Yeah, it's been weird. Again, I go back to the fact, and this is not the first time. I think it was the Padres, right? It was like you see teams in back-to-back series. You got a lot of these rematches. We've talked a lot about the starters, but you got Eliezer Hernandez going. What, 2 2/3 tonight, and then Block with the 6 2/3 last time. You got 5, 6 pitchers that you're seeing every pitch they've got as Shuck wins the race to the bag.
Boy, that Shuck is incredibly fast.
Another look.
Oh yeah,
He's
he
in
beat
there.
him. He most certainly did. Look at that left foot.
I got him as safe. And
Always
Shuck
good
has
to help out. I
himself
love
as
it.
safe.
Right, that's right.
Look at that. Wow.
Nicely done. I'll tell you what, Block was in position to make this play, but watch right here. He kind of slows down and gives up a kind of short steps the bag. A little short step there gave him an opportunity to beat it out, and he did.
He's not just fast, he gets to his top speed quickly, too.
Yeah, he does. One of the fastest guys in all of baseball from home to first.
Got it by that much.
That's all it takes.
Wow. Great shot right there.
Even in slow motion, he's fast.
Excellent. Yeah, I don't think you could slow him down. This is speed in full. One on and 2 out with the Marlins down 3. They have been down as many as 4 in this ball game. And the 1-2 to Dietrich. A swing and a miss. Couple of strikeouts in the inning for Ty Block. We move to the last of the 6th.
by sharing a photo or video with hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Back here for the last of the 6th inning. Andrew McCutchen to lead things off. Brandon Belt and Pablo Sandoval.
Be careful with McCutchen. 3 for 6 against Ziegler.
Waved at and missed. 3 pitches and a strikeout to begin the 6th inning. Well, before the game today, a San Jose-based veterans group called Operation Care and Comfort was here, and they presented Brad Ziegler with a framed flag in thanks for his efforts since his Oakland days to donate game tickets that the OCC then disperses to veterans. So a very special moment. Of course, Brad Ziegler gives back to veterans. A very noble cause for Brad Ziegler. I'm sure that was a special moment for him, one that he will certainly cherish. As the 1-0 to Brandon Belt is outside. Belt fights that one off and lined into the glove of Dietrich. So 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Time for the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight. Austin Nola, 15th round pick from LSU back in 2012. Last 10 games hitting .324. Of course, his older brother Aaron Nola with the Philadelphia Phillies, having a pretty good season in his own right. As Sandoval takes strike 1. Sandoval to left, and Dietrich will play it on a hop. A 2-out base hit for Pablo Sandoval. He is 2 for 3 in this one.
We've seen it from the lefties, the approach against Ziegler. Both Belt and Sandoval trying to stay inside the baseball, not get out early and try and pull.
Pitch to Mac Williamson is fouled back. 0-1. Williamson walked and scored in the 5th inning. A 2-run 5th that helped give the Giants their current 3-run cushion.
Well, Williamson hitting .233 on the season. He's done most of his damage against lefties, only hitting .203 against righties.
Mark Melanson up for the Giants. Looks like he may pitch the bottom of the 7th, or the top of the 7th rather. And the Giants are without their closer Hunter Strickland for the foreseeable future. One of the options for Bruce Bochy would be Melanson. Another possibly Sam Dyson. And they've got Tony Watson out there too. One and 2 pitch. This is outside. It's kind of always been the strength of the Giants, is that the depth of their bullpen, their ability to mix and match, have different guys for different roles, and that was really the constant through that run of World Series championships in 2010, 12, and 14. Chopped up the middle on the backhand, Castro. and gets Williamson by a step. We go to the 7th with the Marlins down 3. Todd Hollandsworth and Jessica Blaylock with you as the Giants get further into their bullpen. Mark Melancon takes over. We're talking about that bullpen being the constant of the World Series championship teams. And overall, their bullpen has been generally good the last decade or so. But in this season series, it has not been a strength. In 19 1/3 innings, they have given up 20 hits.
Right. Well, I mean, the one thing that really stands out is the ERA. If we told you coming in that the Marlins bullpen on the season has a 5 ERA, and they've now pitched to a 1.7 against the Giants. And oh, by the way, the Giants have a 3.7 coming in, and what have they done? They've pitched to a 3.72. So you kind of see, you really see the improvement. And of course, the record, the saves, all that stuff speaks to the quality that's been coming out of that Marlins bullpen of late.
Inside to Brian Anderson. And then JT Realmuto and Justin Bour against Melancon in his 7th game this year. Guy who has been a closer here in Pittsburgh. But again, with the injury to Hunter Strickland, kind of closer by committee in a sense, with Tony Watson getting the bulk of the load.
Cut fastball on the curve. He will throw a 4-seamer, occasional split finger.
Out to right field, right center for McCutchen. And Anderson is retired for the first out here in the 7th inning. The World Cup is rolling tomorrow. Live coverage of the FIFA World Cup continues with 3 great games on Fox and FS1. All kicks off at 7 a.m. when Ronaldo and Portugal face off with Morocco. Catch all the action on Fox and FS1 or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. There's JT Realmuto. There's a lot of greatness about the World Cup, right? But I think in a general sports fan sense, it's great to be able to wake up in the morning and see sports. And that's kind of what you get here on the West Coast sometimes.
Right.
I was looking, they have the Giants schedule up in the press box here. And it says 10:10 a.m. when they're like in Cincinnati or something. They'll play at 10:10 a.m.
Right.
It's like, well, breakfast with the Giants. All the sporting events are done by 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night.
Grew up with the Dodgers, born and raised in the organization, played in LA for 6 years. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Kind of keep your eye on everything going on in the East, baseball wise.
Yeah.
All happening right before you.
Yeah, I've been an East Coast guy my whole life.
You also remember, the last day of the Major League season's been changed around now. All the start times based on just that. Always thought there was an advantage. And there really was, because, you even think late in the season, you were able to kind of strategize your bullpen, or not your bullpen, your starting rotation if you needed to use a guy based on what you'd see going on the East Coast.
All right.
Not anymore.
Last day of the season, everybody starts at 3 o'clock Eastern time, noon West Coast. Pacific, they call it. That's September 30th this year, that Sunday. Real Muto drills one out to center field. Hernandez is back, leaps, and makes the catch. He gave that one a ride, but Hernandez tracked it down.
Well, another well-struck baseball by JT Realmuto. It's our Bonefish fresh catch of the day. We've seen some tough catches in the outfield as that wind has been swirling almost from the start of this ball game. Maybe it's a little bit slower now as the flags are just kind of waving gently in the wind, but again, still a lot of action on the field.
There's still some whipping, a little bit of whipping. 1-0 to Bohr. Was it windier here or at Candlestick?
Candlestick, much windier.
Way worse.
Candlestick Point, yes. Oof. There wasn't a day the wind didn't blow. I mean, it's actually like at the end of the earth. You know what I mean? It's right. Candlestick Point is like right there. You step off, you're in the water.
You just fall right into.
Yeah, there's
right off the planet.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is that way on both, on two sides of the stadium. And I mean, the wind was just incredible.
So it's windy there anyway. That
swirled
spot on the earth, but also the way that it was built.
That
right?
was a multi-purpose stadium, built with San Francisco 49ers in mind as well. So yes, that wind would kind of get in and just swirl, whip around in there. So you probably remember. I don't know how much you've seen of it, but there would always be like the hot dog wrappers at the end of the day would be flying around and up and all over the place.
There's two things at the end of games here. There's the wrappers and then there's the seagulls.
Careful.
And they're starting to, as our radio voice Dave Van Horn says, the first one that comes in is the advanced scout.
That's right.
Make sure he knows which outfielder has spit the most seeds.
They're on a time crunch too, by the way. I mean, it's not by accident that they start to show up right around 9:30.
And a walk to Justin Bohr, adding to his career high.
Wellmax Medical Centers are taking care of Marlins fans on Senior Thursdays. Fans 65 and older can receive a complimentary ticket to the game with a valid ID at the third base entrance to Marlins Park. Join us Thursday, June 28th, when the Marlins face the Diamondbacks. For more information, visit marlins.com/offers.
Starlin Castro takes a look at ball one. Castro singled and scored in the fourth, grounded into a double play in the fifth as Adam Conley is up. Castro clearly feeling no ill effects from that catch attempt made on that pop up into shallow center field. Shoots this one out to right field. In comes McCutchen and making the catch on the dive. That's a heck of a play in right field by Andrew McCutchen. That one gets down. Bohr and Castro are running for a while, but McCutchen makes the catch. 6-3 as we head back to the studio. Paul Severino, Todd Hollingsworth, Jessica Blaylock. Here on a cool night in San Francisco. Adam Conley in the fourth pitcher of the night for the Marlins, pitching in his 12th game this year. He has been superb out of the pen, an ERA at about 1.5.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job. Love the 13 strikeouts and just under 12 innings pitched. Good fastball. We've seen 95, 96 from him since his return from AAA. A good changeup has been in the works over the last few outings. One pitch, one out. There you go. Here we start the 7th.
Well, for the first time tonight, they have figured out Hansen.
You think?
Yeah. Well, between Hansen and the guy.
I mean, it was only like 104 off the bat, that one.
Well, it's an out, I guess, is where I'm going with that. Look at the box score there. You got Hansen and Hernandez. We're not even showing you his line. Prior to that line out to center field, those two guys, 6 for 6, 2 runs scored, 4 RBIs.
Right. A lot of production at the bottom.
Hernandez, the 2-run home run in the 2nd inning, a single in the 3rd, and a double in the 5th. A triple shy of the cycle, and triples not necessarily hard to come by at this ballpark. Heck, they've got a whole alley named after triples in right field. But the only cycle here at AT Park by Eric Burns, June 29th, 2003. But that watch will have to wait.
Good afternoon.
Let's check in with Jessica.
Social media outlets, that includes Instagram, and Giants pitcher Johnny Cueto may have mastered the perfect. Uploaded a video of himself driving around wearing a hat with a picture of himself. Now, guys, this is A+ material. The next time that you go to post on Instagram, I want you to ask yourself, is this Johnny Cueto worthy?
I can guarantee you it won't be. I have an Instagram account, but I'm very self-conscious about how I use it. I don't do what Cueto does in any stretch of the imagination. Have you seen it? Have you seen his Instagram account?
No.
No, it's
What's Instagram?
oh, come, for goodness sakes.
What?
What's Instagram? Get into the 21st century, will you, Hollingsworth? You know what it is.
What is Instagram?
You post pictures of yourself doing stupid stuff.
Well, so what are you saying? Is that what Johnny Cueto was doing?
Sometimes it is. It's like comical, but then at the same time, it's like he's like riding a horse without a shirt on. Like he's just doing all kinds of like weird, silly, goofy things. Wearing hats of himself. I mean, that's big league, first of all. To have a hat with your face on it.
Instagram, huh?
Instagram, yep, yeah. It's one of those apps on the phones that the kids are using these days.
What phones?
We head to the 8th here in San Francisco.
3 over the Marlins. MLB At Bat is your #1 app for Marlins baseball. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Marlins home screen icons and features such as MLB.tv, Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast, stats, news, and more. Download MLB At Bat today.
You can use that MLB At Bat app to track all the changes in the ball game. There is at least this one here. Will Smith pitching in his 21st game this season, a sub-1 ERA. He's gone 39 1/3 innings without giving up a home run. Opponent batting average of just 131. And he'll face another one of the changes, Cameron Maben.
Fastball, slider, occasional curveball. Here's one for their last 18 against Smith.
There's 2 earned runs in 18 2/3 innings of work over those 20 games that we mentioned. And he makes quick work of Maben on 3 pitches. 1 away.
Yeah, right back to that breaking ball.
Drew Steckenrider up. After Adam Connolly worked a 1-2-3 7th inning. JT Riddle takes ball 1.
From Smith, lefties will see the 4-seam fastball and that slider. Actually see the slider a little bit more than the fastball.
Giants got Will Smith August of 2016. August 1st. They wanted a little help out of their bullpen, so they gave up their catcher Andrew Susac and Phil Bickford to the Milwaukee Brewers in exchange for Smith, who actually missed all of last season recovering from Tommy John surgery. One-two pitch to Riddle. Sticks his bat out to stay alive.
Well, it's tough enough on most lefties when you've got a lefty who throws hard, 92 to 94. See Smith, that's kind of where he hangs out, but he's got 2 different breaking balls and he's willing to throw it to the lefties, both that curveball and the slider. And most lefties really do stick to the slider.
Again, they got Smith from the Brewers, who beat the Pirates tonight by a final count of 3-2. There was actually a cool moment before the game where Pirates reliever Stephen Brault actually sung the national anthem.
Really?
Yeah. And in case you didn't see it, it's time for the showstopper.
Is it on Instagram?
Oh, say does the light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight.
That is stopping the show right there. I guess he used to do it in the minor leagues a lot. The first time he'd ever done it in the major leagues. And I guess a little homage to his grandmother, who used to encourage him to sing to prove that, you know, baseball players can do other stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what, from what we heard, of course we didn't hear all of it, it sounded pretty good. Nice reaction from his teammates as well. A little pat on the back. You're right. It takes a lot of courage to get up and do that.
Yeah. Brinson. Oh, look at the play at short by Hansen. Dug out by Bell. Sharply hit by Brinson, but the shortstop play of whether it's Hansen or Tomlinson or Crawford has been slick for the Giants, who hang on to their 6-3 lead going to the bottom of the 8th. Cameron Maben stays in the ball game and moves out to center field and changes defensively. Certainly nothing new for the Marlins. They are riddled, no pun intended on the shortstop, with amazing flexibility. This is how the game started, with that defense. And then this is how it ended, with Brinson, the only guy who stayed in his same spot. And that is one of the great strengths of this Marlins club, is the ability for a number of players to play a number of positions.
Right, and it's continuing. It continues to be a work in progress. You see many guys, early work, taking fly balls, ground balls, different variations, and you create that flexibility. I mean, it's a concept that has been around the last few years around the game, and especially when you have the short bench in the National League, you've got to have versatile players.
Which one of those versatile players will make the catch? It'll be Riddle for the first out. As Drew Steckenrider is in. 35th game this year for Steck.
Steck's been doing a fantastic job. 3.66 ERA. He's been getting it back down ever since that tough stretch. I felt like about a month ago. He's got a 12 innings scoreless streak going. Picked up his first save of 2018 on Saturday, second of his career. So Steck back to being Steck.
Strike to Buster Posey, who homered in the first, was hit by a pitch in the second. And again, for those just joining us or on the East Coast, maybe waking up from a nap, that was the last pitch that Dan Straley threw before being ejected from the ballgame after benches had been warned following a hit by pitch to Lewis Brinson. He also struck out and grounded into a double play to end the fifth. Yeah, for Steckenrider, there was a 4-game stretch, May 10th to May 20th, 3 1/3 innings, 11 runs on a hop to Castro. 11 runs, 7 walks, 5 strikeouts, couple of home runs. However, since then, to Holly's point, he has been a much different pitcher. Just 6 hits in the 12 innings. 12 strikeouts, 5 walks. So whatever it was, it seems to have passed.
Well, he's got his fastball command back. That slider part of the arsenal as well. And he got into a little rhythm where his misses were out over the plate and he was getting hit hard. Steck's been doing a fantastic job living on those edges.
Andrew McCutchen with a base hit in the second. Also struck out in the 6th. Swings over the top of that one. 0-2. See the grass stains on McCutchen's uniform thanks to a terrific diving play to end the 7th inning. The Giants defense making a great play to end the 8th as well, as McCutchen shoots one the other way. Another hit for the former MVP, a 2-out base hit. Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson wondering, what are we going to talk about on the WB Mason postgame show? Maybe they'll be talking about another Marlins comeback. Definitely hear from Don Mattingly. Marlins Live postgame show at the conclusion of this one. Marlins will have one more crack at it. They'll have 9-1-2. Chuck Dietrich and Anderson in the 9th inning. And nobody is up for the Giants, so it might be Will Smith. Two lefties with Schuck and Dietrich to lead it off. Belt left field line to Dietrich, and he makes the catch for the final out in the 8th. Another scoreless frame for Steckenrider. That's 13 in a row for him to the 9th. Southwest, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center, in pursuit of your cure, and by your South Florida Honda dealers. Just a beautiful city, day or night, San Francisco. Winds have calmed for the moment. However, the rally for the Marlins has yet to begin. And I say that with some level of certainty because they have come back 9 different times against the Giants in this season series. They have won 4 of 5 from San Francisco. They've got 3 outs to get 3 runs against Will Smith, who's back out there. Yadiel Rivera will pinch hit for J.B. Shuck. Sam Dyson as backup in the Giants bullpen. Rivera, Dietrich, and Anderson.
Well, Rivera's done a nice job pinch hitting this season. He's got a couple of walks. He's 5 for 17. Leading this team with a .294 batting average. A couple of hits, as I mentioned last night.
Tapped at the plate as Will Smith tries to lock down what could be a win for Derek Rodriguez, who got the start tonight. Ball and 2 strikes to Yadi. Smith and Posey wanted that one, but they don't get it from the home plate umpire, Andy Fletcher. And now 3-2. Well, the Gulls are here. They've made it.
They know what time it is. 10 o'clock. Basically telling all of us to hurry up.
They think the game's almost over. Have they not seen the first 5 games between these 2 clubs?
Absolutely right.
Do they not watch Fox Sports Florida? I don't understand. I'm at a loss.
Yeah.
They've got to have cable.
They're Bay Area Gulls.
So they don't watch CSN Bay Area? What are they cord cutters? What's going on?
They do.
I don't get it.
They're trying to help the Giants out, I think.
All right. Inside to Yadiel Rivera, and for the 2nd night in a row, a leadoff walk to begin the 9th. Time for the Florida Lottery in-game jackpot. It was Derek Rodriguez that started. He and his father, Ivan Rodriguez, one of 12 in big league history that are father-son battery combos, pitchers and catchers. Also on that list, Bruce Bochy. Upstairs to Derek Dietrich. Bruce and Brett Bochy. And what was really cool was when Brett Bochy made his major league debut for the Giants, Bruce got to call him in out of the pen. Fouled straight back.
Dietrich hitting .265 against lefties this year. Does have a couple of home runs. He's got to find a way to get on any way possible. Giants are up by 3. Tying run is in the on-deck circle.
Sam Dyson. Between Dyson and Watson, the guys who will get the bulk of the save opportunities in the absence of Hunter Strickland, as Dietrich strikes out for the first out here in the 9th.
Yeah, waving at a couple breaking balls. Bruce Bochy on his way to the mound.
And he will call for Dyson.
Another look. Will Smith slider puts Dietrich away.
Florida Lottery call to the bullpen here at AT Park. Sam Dyson in with 1 out. They are running out of time here against the Giants. Sam Dyson in out of the Giants bullpen. He'll face Brian Anderson in his 35th game this year. An opponent batting average of .195. He has been effective.
Yeah, this is the 5th time he has now faced the Marlins in 6 games. Most of these Marlins pretty familiar with Dyson. He is a sinker ball specialist.
Inside to Anderson, who spins out of the way.
Ground ball percentage at 64.4%. That is 3rd best in the National League. Sinker slider. It's the combination. Does have a changeup.
On the ground, a panic. Flips it to Hansen over to first. And it's a double play to end the ball game. Dyson throws 2 pitches and gets 2 outs. As San Francisco is able to hold off the Marlins, something that they have not been able to do much in this season series, but they even this one up at a game apiece, setting up a rubber match tomorrow afternoon. Giants double up the Marlins tonight. Wait for the reaction after this one. It will be good. Marlins Live postgame up next.